Well, hey guys, in this video, we're gonna be talking all about why it is you have dry, cracked feet. This is a really common skin concern. And in this video, I'm gonna go over all the possible causes because when it comes to any skin problem, knowing the cause is like 2/3 the battle. And in this video, I'm also gonna give you lifestyle tips to help your dry feet out. And I'm gonna be going over some of the best skincare products for dry, cracked feet. First of all, let's talk about the skin on the bottoms of our feet. The skin on the soles of our feet, as well as the palms of our hands, is really unique. The stratum corneum, that's the very top protective layer of the skin, is super thick on the palms and soles. And then of course you've got all these ridges and grooves there known as dermatoglyphics. Importantly, there are absolutely no pilosebaceous units on the palms and soles. What the heck are pilosebaceous units? Pores or hair follicles. And because there are no pilosebaceous units, there are no sebaceous oil glands on the palms and soles, so you'll never have hairy palms or soles, you'll never have blackheads on the palms and soles, and you'll never have oily palms and soles. There are a ton of sweat glands. The palms and soles have the highest density of sweat glands. Keratin is a protein that is present in skin, hair, and nails. And within our skin, actually the palms and soles have unique keratins that skin on other body sites do not have. One cause for dry, cracked feet is hereditary. There are actually a ton of genetic conditions that have super dry, cracked palms and soles, especially on the bottoms of the feet. Too many genetic hereditary conditions to cover in the scope of this video, but do know that genetics is a possible cause. So if you and somebody else in your family deals with this, it's a possibility that you inherited it from them. Poorly fitted shoes that don't support your feet properly are a common cause because you end up having a lot of friction on the soles that leads to skin thickening and the formation of callus. If you're a fan of wearing flip-flops, it could be the reason why you have dry, cracked feet, because flip-flops, they don't really support the soles very well. I mean, obviously there are some more supportive flip-flops out there, but you get what I'm saying. And not only that, your skin on your feet when you're wearing flip-flops, unless you're wearing socks, the skin is exposed to the elements, so that makes it even more likely to dry out. So you have two things, mechanical with friction from poor support, and then you just have more exposure to the elements. If you wear shoes that don't have really good heel support and you have to stand a lot, say for your occupation, and that ultimately can lead to dry, cracked heels, painful fissures, just from having to stand a long time in poorly supportive shoes. Remember Converse All-Stars? I mean, they haven't really gone anywhere. Those are some of the least supportive shoes out there. And so if you are standing for a prolonged period of time in a shoe like that, it could be a major reason why you have dry, cracked heels. Then of course, there are a variety of skin conditions that affect not only the skin on the rest of the body, but the skin on the bottoms of the feet. Eczema, a dry skin condition, can affect the soles of your feet and the rest of your feet, lead to dry patches. Psoriasis can definitely impact the soles of your feet and lead to patches and plaques of thickened skin. Of course, seasonally, when the weather is cold, the humidity drops, that makes skin all over the body more prone to dryness. Let us not forget foot fungus, commonly referred to as athlete's foot. The medical term for that is tinea pedis. It's caused by a little fungus that likes to snack on those keratin proteins and take up shop on your skin. It can affect skin anywhere in the body, but the feet are a prime real estate location because of that thick stratum corneum. And that not only can affect your feet, the skin on your feet, but it can creep into your nails as well. Having callus, dryness puts you at risk too for foot fungus because it creates a more hospitable environment for those little dermatophytes, as they're called, to take up shop because you just have more kind of dry buildup there. Underlying medical conditions that are associated with dry, cracked feet. Hypothyroidism. I put out a video yesterday on the skin signs of hypothyroidism. If you haven't seen it, especially if you're dealing with thyroid, definitely check it out. But dry, cracked feet are common in people who have uncontrolled low thyroid. Good news is that when the thyroid issue is corrected with medications, well then the feet will improve. And people with diabetes are prone to developing dryness on all body sites, but the bottoms of the feet especially. For whatever reason, people with underlying autoimmune diseases are also more at risk for developing dry, cracked feet. In rare circumstances, an underlying nutritional deficiency can also lead to dry, cracked feet. It certainly can occur, especially if you follow a restrictive diet or you crash diet. Definitely check out my videos on vitamin deficiencies. I plan on doing more in the upcoming future. I've got one on vitamin D deficiency, B12 deficiency, vitamin C deficiency, so check those out. But remember, your skin is a window to what is going on internally. If you have an underlying vitamin or mineral or nutrient deficiency, it certainly can lead to problems with the skin, including the skin on your feet. Any kind of trauma to the skin can elicit callus formation. Rubbing with a pumice stone or going to the nail salon and having them scrape with that blade, you know, initially you kind of get the gratification of smooth feet, but actually that elicits more callus formation because you're basically traumatizing the skin barrier, and the response to that is more callus formation. All right, and last but not least, probably one that many of you out there who follow my videos may even be dealing with yourself and not even realize, is that it's due to menopause. This is actually pretty common. It's referred to as keratoderma climactericum. You can develop really dry, cracked feet, as well as the bottom, the palms of your hands. And why this happens, we really don't know. It may be due to hormonal influences. Of course, with menopause, women begin to lose collagen in their skin. That may play a role in it as well. With keratoderma climactericum, it usually starts out as just some isolated patches, like on the heels, for example, and you probably think, oh, you know, maybe I just got this from wearing flip-flops too much. Maybe, but also you could have an underlying component of it being related to menopause. And then with time, it kind of spreads out to affect a greater surface area of the feet, and you know, you can develop painful cracks, which are referred to as fissures. I said this in a lot of my videos before, but I'm gonna say it again. Given the fact that our average life expectancy has increased so much, women are going to spend a big chunk of their lives postmenopausal. And so more attention needs to be given to this dry skin issue on the feet. Knowing is half the battle. Okay, so those are the possible causes, reasons for having dry, cracked feet. What do you do about it? I do encourage you to see a board certified dermatologist, especially if this is something that seems to be getting worse despite whatever you have tried, because like I said, there are underlying medical conditions that can go along with this, and correcting those, like thyroid disease, for example, can improve the dry feet, and you don't really have to change anything. When it comes to menopause-related keratoderma climactericum, there is some thought that hormone replacement therapy may help, but there's not a lot of data on that. And as I've said in other videos where I talk about menopause and the skin, whether or not hormone replacement therapy is right for you, that is definitely a discussion you have to have with your healthcare provider, because there are risks associated with it, making it not the best choice for some women, whereas for other women, it may be something to explore with your doctor. But whether or not it will improve the dry, cracked feet, it's honestly hard to say. The research is pretty limited. Definitely make sure you are wearing shoes that fit well and that provide good arch support, heel support, support to the ball of your foot, because otherwise that chronic friction is going to cause callus. Not to mention, it's just not good to wear shoes that don't support your feet well. Especially if you are on your feet all day, well, that is putting you at risk for callus formation. Try and stop going barefoot. I mentioned this in other videos on foot care, and I always get comments like, there's no way I'm ever gonna stop going barefoot. And I realize a lot of people just love being barefoot. It's very freeing, it's very liberating. I totally understand that. So just try and go barefoot less. You know, wear socks when you can, because keeping your feet exposed to the elements and not in the support of your shoes, I mean, it's just going to lead to more callus formation that ultimately can dry out even further and lead to those cracks and fissures. Likewise, take a break from flip-flops, or get a pair of flip-flops that is more orthotic. I do know they make flip-flops now that have more of an arch support, a heel support, so consider those instead of just like, you know, the Havaianas that have zero arch or sole support. Lay off the pumice stone and the, you know, foot scraping things, because again, that trauma is gonna elicit more callus formation. If you go to the nail salon, you know, try telling them from time to time to not use that blade thing. So instead, I suggest choosing foot creams or ointments that have keratolytic ingredients. And when I say that, I mean urea, salicylic acid, and some sort of alpha hydroxy acid, lactic acid, glycolic acid, for example. So what I suggest is soak your feet first, especially if you have a lot of callus buildup. That will soften the callus and it will allow for better penetration of these active keratolytic ingredients. Now, if you've been watching my channel since the beginning, I have always strongly recommended the Carousel foot ointment. This is fantastic for the callus on the feet for sure. So after you soak your feet, just put that on and then put some socks on over to really allow for enhanced penetration by using the occlusion of the socks up against the skin. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't like to wear socks, but wear them as long as you can tolerate to just allow for that to absorb well. Now, a word of warning about this. It's great if you have a ton of callus to use it until the callus has kind of gotten to your liking and your feet are smooth. But after that, I would say be cautious to not use it like on a daily basis, because it is very easy with this to get to a point where you do want a little bit of callus there, because it kind of prevents blister formation. So it's great in the beginning when you have a lot of callus, but don't make it so much a part of your daily routine if you don't need it, because it can make you more prone to blistering. Another foot cream, likewise, that you kind of want to do in moderation, not all the time if your feet are good, but use it when you need it, is one I've recommended for a while now, the Dermatologist Soothing Foot Cream. This one is also really good. It has shea butter in it. It's really moisturizing. Now, after you've gotten the feet to where you like them, another tip is to just use an ointment on your feet like petrolatum, Vaseline. Over the past few months, me personally, I've actually been using this Cetaphil healing ointment to my feet. I mean, I've been using it all over, but it's really great. Likewise, after you've soaked your feet, like in the shower, or you can soak them in a basin, slather this all over the feet and put those socks on to really allow that petrolatum to kind of intercalate between the skin cells and keep that callus off. Petrolatum also will reduce frictional forces on the skin. It's very lubricating, so that will help reduce callus formation. And you can do petrolatum on a nightly, daily, nightly basis, and that will help prevent the callus formation from occurring. In some cases, a topical retinoid like tretinoin or tazarotene may actually be helpful, but unfortunately they can be really irritating on the soles of the feet. But that's certainly something you can try as a retinol, but I would say you're going to get results a lot more quickly with a keratolytic like urea. Speaking of retinoid, in some really stubborn cases, a course of an oral retinoid can be used. That's not something we routinely do, and by oral retinoid I mean like Accutane or the psoriasis medication Soriatane. In some cases those actually can be helpful, but in other cases it's kind of futile. So I mean, I wouldn't really think of that as a go-to, but yeah, there are some people's dry cracked feet that improve substantially with a course of oral retinoid like Accutane or Soriatane. I also mentioned getting shoes that provide better arch and sole support. So for me personally, I don't walk barefoot in my home ever, because I don't want any more callus than I need. I always wear socks, but I also always wear slippers. And for me personally, these slippers have been a game changer. It's the brand Bionic. If you are in the market for a good supportive slipper, I highly recommend these. This is like my third or fourth pair, but they last forever. Like I have a few different pairs now, but I just got these for Christmas. I love them because they're kind of a slide-on mule, and you can adjust the tightness around the foot here. They stay on your feet really well, and they're super supportive, and they have a nice rubber sole here. They last forever. They're really good quality, and they provide amazing arch, sole, and heel support. And yeah, I've recommended these in other videos about foot care, and I love them. I'm a huge fan. I'm not sponsored by Bionic, but I just really love them. I've never worn any of their shoes though. Let me know in the comments if you have ever bought any Bionic shoes. I imagine they are likewise really supportive if you are in the market for a new pair of shoes. All right, but a lot of you guys not only deal with dryness on the feet, but you also deal with those painful cracks. What can you do about them? It sounds crazy, but it works, and that is super glue. Hear me out, it definitely works. It's definitely something that we recommend. If you have painful cracks on the bottoms of your feet, make sure the foot is clean, and then just take some super glue, or it's also called crazy glue. Put a drop in the crack and then pinch the skin together and hold it there for about 60 seconds. That will actually help reduce the discomfort from having those cracks, and it will help the skin heal by keeping it closed. Those fissures can be really, really painful. So that's definitely something that we recommend people do who are dealing with painful fissures. You can also do it if you have painful fissures, cracks on your fingertips, on your hands. Just make sure you allow it to dry fully before you touch like your eyes or something. Honestly, knowing the cause in many cases is 2/3 the battle, because if it's something as simple as changing out your shoe, you don't have to, you know, try a bunch of skincare products. Speaking of products, I will end on this. I always get questions about those foot peels that you see. They often have them actually at like Marshalls and TJ Maxx. I've noticed the baby foot peel is a really popular one. And those basically have these keratolytic ingredients that I mentioned, urea, alpha hydroxy acids. My issue with those is that they often have a lot of other ingredients that can just end up causing a lot of irritation for your skin. Instead, I just recommend using an ointment or a cream that has one of those active ingredients, and you use it more on a consistent basis to help soften those dry, cracked heels, as opposed to these foot peeling masks. They're kind of intense, and it's hard to know to what extent they're gonna exfoliate. Sometimes the exfoliation is quite robust, and that can actually make you at risk for blisters. That's kind of another reason why I prefer the creams and ointments. You can kind of self-titrate how much callus softening you get. Because like I said, you do want a little bit of callus there to prevent you from getting blisters. All right, you guys, so in the description box, I'm going to link everything that I mentioned here as far as products. But if you like this, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.